So I recently had a discussion with a good friend of mine, an entrepreneur. I have nothing but love for him. He's opened so many doors for me, and hopefully he can say the same I've done for him. And we had a conversation recently, though, that kind of struck me as a bit odd. And what the biggest challenge ultimately was his ability to retain good employees, his ability to find people who had the skill set, right, that he needed in order to be successful in his business. He was having difficulties ascertaining who are the individuals that will stick and stay, that will, as opposed to leave early and arrive late, how could he ascertain which individuals would be inclined to actually stay late and arrive early, right? And, we talked about all the different tools and strategies, of course, right? We talked about non-circumvents and non-competes, interview questions and surveys that you can employ, all the tools that people typically utilize, personality tests, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And as I visited his website and kind of took inventory of his social media presence, the one thing that I noticed was missing was that his why wasn't there. The vision for the company, the vision for where he anticipated the organization would be 5-10 years from now. And some people say, well, why is that important? What does that have to do with hiring individuals? What does that have to do with finding talent? What does that have to do with the screening process when you are looking to onboard, whether they be employees, executives, or business partners? And what I would submit to you is it means everything. Look, at the end of the day, if you're going to take on somebody, you need to give them a track to run on, right? There's a book out there called Traction where they talk about this GWC, right? Does the person get it? Do they want it? Are they capable? And I'm going to start with the middle, right? Whether or not they want it, whether they want to be held accountable, right? And when we talk about being held accountable, meaning actually do their job, right? Perform the tasks that are expected of them, and ideally perform above and beyond that. But here's the thing, if they don't have a measuring stick, if they don't have a track to run on, if they don't know what the company standards are, and more importantly, if they don't have something they can sink their teeth in beyond just simply collecting a check, well, you have a mercenary, right? And people will work and do their jobs for a while for a check, but they can always go somewhere and be compensated more, right? Why should they give extra to you? Why should they put an extraordinary effort to you if they don't look at your organization, or they don't look at you, or your vision is extraordinary? You've heard it said time and time again, athletes will play and literally break their limbs with certain coaches. And certain coaches they won't even come to practice for, right? And of course, sometimes a lot of it has to do with the athlete, but sometimes it has a lot to do with the coach, right? You hear about this description, a player's coach, right? Someone that the players love, right? They'll go the extra mile for. You have to basically provide individuals the same reason to be enthusiastic and be motivated and buy into you. When someone is working somewhere or they're involved in an organization and they've bought into the mission and the vision, right? Then you don't so much have to concern yourself with whether or not they can get up and get passionate about it, whether or not they're willing to give extras. They bought into the mission, they bought into the vision. When someone is in a situation where they are working for an organization and a company, and they can see the company's trajectory, and they can see a role for themselves, they can see their own growth. If there's personal development, professional development, and advancement present, right? If the potential is there, once again, more than likely they're going to be more inclined to give their extra, right? To give their all in order to work at that job or serve in the capacity that you have them there for. And that's why having a vision is so absolutely important. And once again, people can always go elsewhere to acquire a quote-unquote job or to acquire good pay somewhere. They really can, particularly if they're a highly skilled individual. And so you have to be willing to do that, right? You have to give them something to aspire to. So you got to give someone something. So you look at GWC and they talk about G, right? Get it. Do they get it? Do they get the mission? Do they get the purpose? Do they know what they're being? Do they know what they're getting into? Are they a fit for the culture, right? That's a big piece of it. Having a vision and having like a 5-10 year plan, if you will, that's part of creating culture. right? So individuals know the track they're running on. What's the destination? What am I participating in? It's a big deal. You can't hold people accountable if you don't have, once again, a vision to hold them accountable to. And then we talk about capability. Well, look, sometimes as an entrepreneur, that falls on you. Look, if you don't know what direction you're going, if you don't know the destination, if you don't know the destination, you can't project, you can't even really ascertain what's required to get to a given place, right? You're just getting up in the morning and you're doing. And you can do that for a while, but you're never going to scale that way. You're never going to grow. You're never going to find personnel that will stick and stay that way. At some point, you got to be able to define the destination. And once you define the destination and you know exactly what you're taking aim at, then it also helps you become more effective at who you onboard, right? Who do you take on as a business partner? Who do you take on as an employee or a staff person, whatever the case may be? When you know what you're going, you know what skill sets you're looking for. You know what talents individuals need to have. You have a better idea in terms of the scope of services that you need to fill in. When you are exercising vision, and particularly when you are going through the process of self-evaluation, you also begin to understand what your weaknesses are. The things that you don't do well versus the things that you do well. The things that give you energy versus the things that don't give you energy. And how you want to operate, what you want your role to be within your organization, right? And so that's why these things are important. Having a destination, having a vision, having a mission, having a purpose. It needs to be omnipotent, right? It needs to color everything that you do. From the time you get up in the morning until you close the doors or take your laptop and close your laptop or turn your phone off at night. People need to know not only what they're there for, but why they're there, right? People want to know they're a part of something that's bigger than them. And you just can't underestimate the value of this. So I figured it's something that I'd share that I know has served me well as I've built businesses and partnered with other individuals who've done the same. Hope it serves you well also. Celebrate success. Goodbye for now.